Good morning. I'm Suzanne Healy. I'm chair of the National Review Board, and I'm from the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. And I'm here with the current Bishop James Johnston, chair of the Committee for the Protection of Children and Young People, and the chair-elect, Bishop Barry Knestout from Richmond, Virginia. Thank you for joining me today.
It's great to be with you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Both. Great to be here.
Thanks. I wanted to ask you, bishops, about your experience on the committee. What are the positive changes that you've seen since the charter was implemented?
Well, maybe I can go first since I'm heading out, and I'll toss it to Bishop Knestout. I've just been amazed since the charter's implementation about the change in the culture in the church, really. I was a priest in the 90s and have sort of gone through the whole trajectory, and just before I was a bishop, the charter was implemented, and now, having been a bishop, seen its implementation and just seeing really the culture in the church and the focus on our children, keeping them safe. Yes. The resources I think we've put into all of this over the last 2 decades have really borne a lot of fruit. And so that would be the main thing, is just creating a very healthy, positive culture of safety.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And of course, very similar in terms of my timeline and experience of as a priest. I was ordained in '89, so through the 90s, kind of dealing with, work with young people and work with the church in that area. And I was at head of the Office of Youth Ministry in the Archdiocese of Washington at the time of the charter, and so some of the kind of effects of that, the impact on that office and our care for young people, and I could see that and be very much a part of that whole process where we're responding. In my mind, the great changes that have occurred and the experience I've had since that time is just the increased awareness of the importance of child protection and of the problem of abuse that's in the culture and kind of out in many aspects of or circumstances of life, and how there's been such a groundswell and a determination, a commitment in the church to really bring to bear all of our resources to respond in a good way to ensure a safe environment for all young people, and to restore the trust that was eroded and hurt during the time of the revelation of abuse in the past. To restore that trust among people, our own people, but also with the community at large. And I think just the awareness that is not only within the church, but also in the wider culture of the importance of caring for, safeguarding young people, who's our future generation, and ensuring that our institutions and our activities are environments where they'll be able to thrive and be able to grow and prosper in a good way as young people towards the future.
Thank you. Makes me curious to see why you were interested in serving on this committee in the first place, or how it's changed your attitudes on this topic.
Well, I think most bishops don't sign up for this role, but we respond to a call. It's like other things in our lives. I was approached and asked if I would run for the office of chair for the committee, and I took it to prayer. And like everything else in your life, once you discern a vocation to the priesthood, you, in a sense, are open to the call of the Lord in your life. And so I just considered it a part of that. And so after praying about it, decided, well, if my brothers think that I might be a good chair, I should not turn that down unless I had a good reason. And so just made myself available. But also, along with that, realizing how important this committee is and the work that it does in the life of the church in the United States. This whole area of child safety and safe environments, how we respond to things as a church, has in a sense been one of the most dominant issues in the Catholic Church in the United States, really for 2 decades. But even we see now how important it was because of what happened before. And so I just saw it as one of the the key things for the church going forward, a very important area. In a sense, it's foundational for the mission of the church to continue. We have to address this and to continue to address it and to improve, continue to seek improvements. And that's one of the things that I've been impressed with since serving as the last 3 years as the chair, is to see how working with the National Review Board and others, we continually focus on not only looking at what's working, but how can we continue to improve going forward. Things change even since the charter started. Lots of things have happened in our culture that have been profound changes with social media, with smartphones and communications. And so it's incumbent upon our committee to continue to keep up with the things that are developing within our culture, within our families, within the church, and to reflect on those things in light of child safety and safe environments. And so I'm impressed with that work, and certainly with your role with the National Review Board, that advice that we get, the collaboration. So that's a little bit about what I've seen in my 3 years, and really even before that with this whole area.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once again, our experiences do kind of parallel each other a little bit here. That I was approached, invited to consider sitting on the committee, initially as a regional representative on the committee, and was able to serve a couple terms in the past with this committee, aware of the important work that takes place in oversight and coordination, not only of the National Review Board, but also the Bishops' Committee itself, in order that we are always vigilant and always looking for what is that area that we can improve upon in terms of our work in safeguarding the environment for young people, and the work of the church, which so much of the church's work is involved in teaching and forming another generation, the next generation, through catechesis and sacramental life and youth ministry programs, and even CYO athletic programs that I had experience with in my home diocese. And that work is important for the future of the church and for the present as well. And so the committee really functions in such an important way to provide not only oversight, but also a vigilance in addressing new phenomena, new issues that have come up, new issues of social communication, new challenges that might occur in terms of generational circumstances from one group of young people to another over time, and then also to assist our parishes, our communities, our dioceses in ensuring that their own policies and their own programs are such that they're being effective, that we have oversight for those, and that bishops are supported, and the staff, victim assistance coordinators, as well as safe environment coordinators, are assisted in their work to make sure at the local level these matters are addressed well, again, to restore the trust that is so important for the life and work of the church.
You know, Suzanne, one thing I would add too that I've come to appreciate is this whole notion of high reliability organizations, often referred to as HROs, and that whole, in a sense, mindset I think has been brought to bear in this area within the church, and it really pertains to often to hospitals and the military, where so much is at stake, and one small mistake can lead to big disasters. And so I think the conference has adopted that whole mindset within the committee, but also trying to instill that within the church, that we continue, even if we've made great improvements, and we have. That's a message I think I want to say today, is that we have done great things in this area and made great improvements, but as a high reliability organization, you're always trying to make even more improvement, because just one small mistake. We want to keep every child safe, and so you want to be continually critically looking at where you can still improve. And so I've been just edified by that attitude within the work of the committee, and trying to continue to instill that across the board within the church. And so that'd be another area that I've really come to appreciate since I became chair, and now I'm going off, just realizing how that element of high reliability organization, HRO philosophy has been and continues to be incorporated within our work.
Related to that philosophy of HROs too is, and I see this in diocesan level as well, where everyone from the bishop all the way through the clergy to the volunteers and catechists, as well as our laity in our parishes, see themselves as participating in and responsible for ensuring for a great environment, a safe environment. And when we're able to instill that kind of culture throughout the church, we're going to be very much ensure that those environments are safe, and that we're improving in any effort to prevent it from the beginning, any instance of sexual abuse of minors.
Well, first I want to say to both of you, after working with you these years, thank you for answering that call and discerning yes to serve on this committee. And you, Bishop Johnston, said a little bit about what you want the lay faithful to know that this committee does, that we've made great strides and improvements. Is there anything else you would like the lay faithful to know about the work that comes as a result of this committee and all of our efforts?
Yeah, I've come to realize that this work in large part depends upon the lay faithful. It really is a work of the entire body of Christ, and I know that as a bishop, so many of our initiatives and the articles that we commit to fulfilling in the charter, those actually are fulfilled in large part by our lay faithful. Not only trainings and things like that, but I think most of our laity who are involved in the life of the church and ministry of the church, especially youth ministry, and they realize already because of the protocols that they are following, the trainings that they have, the steps that we require. I want to thank our lay faithful because they, in a sense, are in large part the majority of those who really help create this culture within the church. It's not just our clergy, but it's really every member of the body of Christ. And one of the things that I believe is going to be more important going forward is even in responding to those who have been wounded and need ongoing healing in the past, we're going to have to, I think, rely more and more on the lay faithful to accompany and to help in that role too. So just see that as fundamental, and certainly express my gratitude to all of those who assist in this area within the church.
What I've seen over the years is the remarkable sense of commitment and seriousness with which all those who are part of the National Review Board and the Bishop's Committee on Child and Youth Protection, how they take the role in terms of oversight, and the devotion, this just strong commitment towards safeguarding young people, and that comes through in all the discussions and the time that is taken with each one of the matters that comes before us, and I know as well with the National Review Board and all the matters that are addressed there, in looking over the policies, making sure that the charter is effective in being implemented in our dioceses, and that young people are safeguarded and to the best of our ability. And I see that just because of the level of just commitment that I've witnessed, and which gives me great both confidence and hope.
if one of our lay people said to you, how can I get involved in this effort in our parishes and in your diocese to protect children and create safe environments, what would you suggest for them to do?
Well, I don't know about Bishop Knestout, but in our diocese, I think we're always looking for good people to assist with training, safe environment training, especially at the parish level. Okay. We continue to need good people that are willing to embrace that as a way to really serve the church. There's just naturally turnover. There are new people coming in and new people stepping forward to serve within the church, and so the whole area of preparing people and instilling in them our culture and just to be trained in safe environment, I would say is one obvious area for me that we're always needing good people to be willing to devote themselves to that. That's one area. Sure. There are probably others, but that's one that immediately jumps to mind. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
I think for all those in our parishes and our communities that really do have a heart for and a desire to serve the church and be a part of the church's mission, teaching and encouragement towards holiness, that they, that first of all, they are committed to going through the process of awareness as well as training for their own role in caring for young people and youth, whatever that role might be. That they do the ongoing updates of the Veritas programs, whatever programs used in their diocese, that they're aware of the policies locally and what are kind of the responsibilities they might have when they are serving in the church's mission and activities. They have that kind of self-awareness as well, and that all of us, again, from a pastor, community, catechists, volunteers, all see themselves as very much part of the solution, part of the response that we make in ensuring that our young people are cared for and their health and well-being is ensured, and that they are formed well in the faith in order to be able to contribute in the future as well to all the work of the community, the work of the church. So to be serious about and vigilant in your own activity and your own response to the needs of those around us.
Thank you, thank you. In your diocese, Bishop, you have started some type of a Bethany's Journey program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, this initiative is called Journey to Bethany. Its name originates from really Bethany in the Gospels, that okay. It was a place where Jesus went to be renewed with his good friends. It's also associated with Lazarus as being raised from the dead, coming out of his tomb and being unbound. And it really ties into a need that we saw in our diocese of having lay people more involved in accompanying those who had been wounded as victim survivors. I realized that I have a role in that, and I could meet with victims, but I couldn't always be present for that ongoing accompaniment. And I realized that many of our lay people were clamoring for a way to contribute in that area. They said, "What can we do to help, Bishop?" And it dawned on me that, well, I need to allow them and find a way to enable more and more lay people to do that accompaniment. It becomes a lot easier for victim survivors sometimes if they've been hurt by a cleric, a priest, along the way. Very often that becomes very uncomfortable, and so a priest might not be able to accompany someone, whereas a layperson can. A grandmother who wants to love someone and help them, and someone with faith too that can assist them. So we've enabled more and more of our lay people to bring survivors together in prayer groups. And so one of the survivors in our diocese told me after being involved with Journey to Bethany, she said, "Bishop, I had years and years of counseling, but my few months in this group has done more for me than all of that combined." And that's I think an example of some of the more creative things that I think we can be doing in order to help help those who are struggling. Because one of the most terrible things that happens with clergy sexual abuse is that becomes a barrier to someone between them and the church, and often them and God. And so finding ways to empower lay people to enter into this work is what Journey to Bethany is about. So it's so far so good. It's I think going to meet a need that I think I've been looking at for a long time. And
Wonderful.
yeah, well, you're welcome. And I. How about if Bishop Knestout and I put some questions to you? I mean, you've been asking us some questions, but Suzanne, you've been the chair of the National Review Board now, really for the time that I've been chair, and you're going to carry over. Fortunately, there will be some carryover to the time that Bishop Knestout has. Tell us a little bit. A lot of people I don't think know about the National Review Board. Tell us about its origins and its function and how it collaborates with the Committee for the Protection of Children and Young People.
Great. Thank you for asking that question. The National Review Board is a result of the Dallas Charter. Article 10 in the Charter mandated that we have a National Review Board. The National Review Board is made up of 13 lay professionals with expertise in the area of child sexual abuse. So they have a lot of lay expertise to offer in this area. The purpose of the National Review Board, there's multiple areas. We look at the annual audit report, review it, looking at it from a compliance standpoint, and try to evaluate, are there any emerging areas that we need to attend to or make recommendations to the bishops on the committee? So that's one of the things that we do. We are there to advise and collaborate with you on policies and practices that are important to child and youth protection. We continue to talk about the need to continue our accompaniment with survivors. And anything that you ask for our expertise in this area, we want to help. We want to help restore that trust in the church and have lay people actively involved with you.
You yourself, before becoming a member of the National Review Board, served in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles.
Correct.
Was that as a victim assistance coordinator?
Correct. Yeah. I was the Victims Assistance Coordinator in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles for just short of 10 years.
Yeah. So it's a good example, I think, of the membership of the National Review Board is varied. It includes those like yourself who served, but other professionals that bring a variety of insights and expertise.
Right. Thank you for asking that, Bishop. Yes, we have law enforcement, former investigators, attorneys, we have judges, we've had medical professionals, several mental health professionals, we've had theologians, university presidents, principals, anybody who has experience with children and expertise in child sexual abuse. So it's varied. And we rotate, we serve for 4 years, and it rotates off so that you have a constant change and new outlook and new vibrancy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are some of the things you've served as a member and now as the chair? What are some of the things that have impressed you or that you've maybe would take away now that you didn't know before?
By being chair, it's given me the opportunity to learn about the many creative and wonderful things that are happening across the entire United States. I'm in awe of the radical accompaniment for individual survivors. That's a passion for me. I'm in awe of the creative healing services, retreats, involvement of survivors in diocese and ministry. I've seen wonderfully vibrant and creative safe environment programs that really ensure that our children and young people are safe in our parishes. So it's given me a much broader picture of the work we're doing
Yeah.
across the United States, which makes me feel that we're working really hard.
With your experience on the National Review Board, your experience on the National Review Board, what would you say are the greatest strides that the church has made in terms of response, but also what are the areas that really still need to be tended to from your point of view?
That's a balance, Bishop. We have to balance that tension. We have made, as you mentioned, great strides in safe environment and great strides in reducing the numbers of allegations that come forward, completely different from decades ago. So our policies have made it very safe for children and young people to be involved in our parishes and schools. So we have to be very proud of that accomplishment. But at the same time, we have to balance this tension of still having a long way to go and needing lifelong accompaniment to our children of yesterday, those survivors who are now adults that may have been impacted by this abuse. And they need our ongoing commitment, our ongoing walking with them. We can't forget them. We need to help restore their trust in the church. And one of the things that I loved always sharing with them about being a victims assistance coordinator, I'd like to tell them about the programs we had in place. And they would say, I wish that was there when I was a child.
Yeah, speaking of ongoing work, one of the things I think it would be important for our Catholic faithful to know is what we're doing right now.
Right.
I mean, we're right in the middle of revising the Charter for the Protection of Children and Young People, and have been meeting really now for several months, and you've been a part of that key group, and as well as Bishop Knestout, and so a lot of things have occurred within the church, the revision of the Code of Canon Law, Book 6, several other things, and so this is a moment, kind of a key moment in this area. We're right in the middle of it, and so over the 20 years, we've had several revisions of the Charter. So that's another example, I think, of the role of the National Review Board in collaborating with the committee, as well as other committees in the conference, to continue to update and improve, hopefully,
Right.
the Charter and its effectiveness within the church, keeping up and incorporating the changes within the universal church, locally as well. So any thoughts from either of you on that as we go forward?
Again, I'm very impressed in my own short time in working with the committee on the revision of the Charter, just the dedication, all of those involved in it, and the seriousness with which we're taking the whole project, in order that we can respond to all that's occurred recently in recent years in the church, with all the actions and work that our Holy Father's done, as well as just the awareness internationally of the need for the church to respond to this in an ongoing and individual way.
I think about one of the things that we talk about often on the National Review Board is that the lay faithful, people in the pews, and the people outside don't really know all that the church has positively done. They don't know the amount of accompaniment and services that we provide to survivors. They don't necessarily know all the safe environment programs and what we're doing. So that's something that and it's hard to tout what we've done, but we have done a tremendous amount to help people. And I wish we could get that good word out more.
And I think the way that we do that is, in terms of our own communication efforts, and is just to be very much committed to the work, the ongoing work, and not only of the committee, the National Review Board, but our work at the diocesan level with the audits, the ongoing training, the vigilance when it comes to response and applying our policies and procedures at the local level. In that ongoing way, we will be able to, over time, effectively communicate all that's happened.
Right. Bishop Knestout, I didn't get to ask you, what are you doing? What would you like to share about any programs in your own diocese?
Thanks, Suzanne. In the Diocese of Richmond, we do both. I'll characterize it as both word and action. Right? We do both. Our words express our intent and our desire, and really the direction we're going to focus our attention. And the actions back that up with something of substance to show that we are serious about the words that we express and how our intent to really safeguard the environment for young people and throughout the whole church for all those who are vulnerable. So in terms of word and prayer, the first is we do gather yearly for a Mass of Hope and Healing, which we also provide an opportunity for counselors available for those who attend, and that's done regionally through the diocese in such a way that in the context of the Eucharist and of prayer, we both express our desire to overcome failures of the past and also to improve for the future, ask God's grace and His help upon all those who've experienced abuse in the past, but also who are seeking hope and healing for the future, and to provide a tangible opportunity for that accompaniment through counselors that are available and the context of the prayer in the community. We do annually, and this is more to raise awareness, again in terms of words, a rosary each year to pray for victims of abuse and for the Church's own commitment to persevere in that as well going forward. Annually in the diocese, we provide a report of all the activities and the status of the question in terms of what's been going on in the diocese for our training and those who've been impacted and even those who've come forward to speak about their own experience of abuse and are seeking some reconciliation or some direction forward. And so we report that to all the community as a way of communicating what we've been doing and our ongoing commitment to address those needs in our policies and our own programs and practices. And in action, I'll just say there's kind of the combination of that where we provide and are committed to ensuring that there are counselors who will be available to those who have experienced abuse in the past and that they have that as a resource and something the Church is committed to providing for those who come forward. And we also work with the other dioceses in Virginia and Arlington to be able to direct people towards opportunities for either retreat or days of recollection that will assist them in dealing with their own past experience and in the context of prayer, to be able to find that healing interiorly and in the community they can move forward as well.
That you reminded me, Bishop, and you talked about, Bishop Johnston, the impact of a group for survivors. You're the woman or the survivor in your diocese who said this group experience was more impactful than individual therapy. In my experience in talking about groups, it is so wonderful that we can bring survivors together and let them share so they don't feel alone and they know that there's somebody else who's had the thoughts and the feelings that they've had to struggle with. So that's marvelous that you provide those group opportunities.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Related to that, sometimes you still hear voices that say the bishops aren't doing enough. As the National Review Board chair, how would you respond to that?
I think my experience as a member of the National Review Board is that you are listening authentically and we're collaborating together. And I can see in talking to some of the bishops after the meetings they're going home to their diocese and implementing many of the things that we have talked about that would be improvement. So I see us working together. I see you soaking up that expertise and those suggestions and then adding it to your own expertise, and that as a collective group we're doing better.
And I've been thinking lately too about with all the talk about cidality and what that means. A lot of it's kind of for many people an abstract term, but would you say that really the collaboration between the bishops And for example, a body like the National Review Board is an exercise in synodality of listening and conversation. What do you?
Absolutely. We've all been, well, as a layperson, I've just been reading articles about the synodality and the whole concept, and I was involved in it in my parish. And I see this in our meetings. I see this exchange, and I thought that here are people, lay people and the bishops on a level playing field, sharing our ideas. I see that in our working groups when we're doing the charter, that there's listening, authentic listening, and really valuable collaboration. I think it gives a sense of empowerment to the lay people. So I feel this is synodal communication is the way we're going to change culture.
I think the synodality is a situation where you have, in the context of prayer and a conscious kind of request and invitation to the Holy Spirit to be present with us as we accompany one another, that, and I think this is the brilliance of the whole synodality effort from the church's work, is that it really allows for us in our listening to one another, in our communicating with one another, in the context of the church and the Holy Spirit, to really find creative ways to move forward, to really deal with the most difficult issues that we grapple with day to day in our lives and in the church's life, and be able to move forward in a way that will ensure a strengthening of the community and an overcoming of all the difficulties and the sorrows that we experience because of sinfulness and because of failures of the past.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for the time that you've taken today to share with me the great work that you're doing, both as chairs and in your own diocese. And I really appreciate the conversation and the continuing synodal approach as we get better.
Yeah, and thank you, Suzanne. I think just the raw statistics show there have been great improvements. And a lot of that, I think we should celebrate, at this moment, and at the same time, as we said earlier, always striving to reach that point of even more improvement. And I just want to thank you for your commitment, and as well as all the members of the National Review Board. I want to thank also all those people that are out there that assist in our dioceses, that assist their bishops and their pastors, and really their brothers and sisters in Christ, and really keeping the Catholic Church at the forefront. We really have, in a sense, responded in such a way that I think we're at the forefront of child safety protocols and work. So thank you. I want to also thank Bishop Knestout for being my successor. Be praying for him as he continues the work on revising the charter and getting it over the finish line, along with all the other bishops from the various regions that have stepped forward at the invitation of their brothers to help. So thank you both.
You set a very high standard, and I'm going to do all I can to help kind of meet that as well.
Right.
And I think we're all going to continue to work together. I know the National Review Board wants to continue to work together to think about things that we can do to continue to improve and to remain vigilant. So I thank you both for walking with us.
All right, thank you.